Let me formally welcome you to today's online seminar, the one for the month of November. As we all know, the month of November is dedicated to the Rotary Foundation. And this morning, we have two erudite speakers who are very well knowledgeable on the topic of Rotary Foundation that will be leading us in discussion this morning. We have our Rotary Foundation Committee Chair for 9112, past District Governor Jide Akeredolu. You are welcome, sir. And we also have our District Governor-elect, Rotarian Layi Abidoye. Both of them will be talking to us this morning. Without wasting much of our time, let me invite our District Governor, Rotarian Lanre Adedoyin, to please give us his opening remarks so that we can start the program in earnest. It will be for 20 minutes each, and then the last 10 minutes we'll spend on answering one or two questions as they are. Thank you. Over to you, sir, my District Governor. DG, sir.
Hear you, sir. I can hear you, sir.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, sir. Our district learning facilitator. I also greet our revert past district governor, DGE Akeredolu, the chairman of our district Rotary Foundation Committee, and our district governor-elect, Layi Abidoye, our two facilitators for today's program. As correctly stated by our learning facilitator, the month of November is designated by Rotary International as the Rotary Foundation Month. Without much ado, I want to welcome all the facilitators and the participants to this program. I'm sure that at the end of this program, you will be enriched by the knowledge, the expertise, and the skill of our facilitators. Thank you very much as I welcome to this program. Good morning.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your welcome remarks. The first speaker for today is Rotary Foundation Committee Chair for District 9112, Rotarian Dr. Jide Akeredolu, AKS, and he will be speaking to us on the Rotary Foundation and Polio Eradication Program. Of course, you know that past district governor is very knowledgeable on that topic, and he has not only theoretical, he has practical information, and he has demonstrated such over the years. So he's ably qualified to talk to us this morning on that topic. Over to you, sir. Revert past district governor Jide Akeredolu, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, PDG. I'm still trying to see whether the host will allow me to share my slides.
Okay, please answer.
Yes.
Sir, right. Do you want to share it yourself?
Well, that's the easiest thing. That's the best. So that you'll not be saying next slide, please. Next slide, please.
Okay, let me make you the host. So when you're done, you can make me the host again.
Okay.
All right, so I'll do that right away.
Okay, thank you.
So you're the host now.
Okay, good. How do you like my cap?
Good.
Thank you very much, my DG and my PDG. Yes, November is Rotary Foundation month, and it's a month we dedicate to the Rotary Foundation. And I said that last week we were talking about polio, and the idea comes to be, what has Rotary been doing about polio? And many of us came into Rotary and we just joined the polio train. We really don't know exactly how we got where we are. So essentially what I'm going to do now is to tell you the story about how we got where we are and what we need to do. And that's what we mean when we talk about the Rotary Foundation and the polio eradication program. I'm yet to be able to, I don't know whether you made me administrator yet.
Hello,
are you getting me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
Right now. And yeah, the story about polio could have started in 1978 when the Arab president then, Clem Renouf, decided to have a committee, because at that time, before 1978, projects were just being done in little clubs, little projects, and he wanted something big, something that he could that can go beyond the club level. And that's why he set up that committee called the HHH program. Many of you read Rotary history will have heard about it. It was chaired by, Rotarian Cliff Dutterman, and who later became an RI president. And they just look at what they could do beyond at the club level. And some ideas came in, and the one that struck the Rotary headquarters was one set in by one Dr. Bede Santos from Rotary Club of Malolos in Philippines. He later became a district governor. That if Rotary could provide the vaccines to them in Philippines, they will immunize all the children in Philippines. And that was the project that was chosen then. And vaccines were sent to the Philippines, and 6 million children were immunized in Philippines then in 1980. And they were able to reduce polio rates by 60% by the survey that they did in 1982. So that was our first encounter with polio. But it didn't stop there. Things just went on until 1980. 1980, during the Chicago Convention, Albert Sabin, that is the photograph you are seeing there, was the keynote speaker. Albert Sabin happened to be the developer of the oral polio vaccine. There were two vaccines. There are still two vaccines. There's one, there's the oral one, and then there's the injectable one. And he was the developer of the oral polio vaccine. And he was the keynote speaker then. And he actually made a very powerful speech that he believes that polio, Rotary, because of their position that they are present in almost every community in the world, are best positioned to eradicate polio, and if they take it up. But that is happened, the speech went on, but nothing happened in 1980, 1981, until 1982, when Stanley McAfee was the RI president. He was the RI president 1981 to 1982. And he started another committee called the New Horizon Committee to look into the future. The centenary of polio of Rotary was around the corner, and they wanted something big that they could do. So they sent notices to all clubs around the world that what could they do, and a lot of suggestions came, some frivolous, some good, and so on. And they were able to sift about 35 ideas, and they sent it to RI, the RI board. And one project struck them, one sent by one Rotarian called John Saba. He became the spirit behind the polio eradication. He said that Rotarians, if given the tools, could embark on eradication of polio worldwide. And that was the project that was chosen. And that's okay, yes, it was called Polio 2005, thinking, Rotary was founded in 1905, and they were trying to say, okay, yes, we could eradicate polio by the year 2005 so that we could celebrate the centenary of polio, of Rotary, with the eradication of polio. Also, this one, nothing happened. Yeah, that John Saba is a pediatrician who was just from the Rotary Club of Potomac in Maryland, USA. Until this man came on board, Dr. Carlos Gonzalez, is actually a physician from Mexico. And I said, time is going. Well, if we want to do anything by the year 2005, we better start going. This idea that Albert Sabin talked about some years ago is something we should get going about. And they called Albert Sabin and a few experts in public health to the Rotary headquarters in Ever State and said, how do we go about this thing? And Albert Sabin said, well, Rotary would need, if Rotary wants to do it, we need about $100 million because we need to immunize more than 500 million children. And then they said, okay, let's try and raise some funds. And so they started that was the first worldwide fundraising project, done by Rotary to raise with a target of 120 million so that they could have, some margin of safety. But they were actually surprised that within a short time, they were able to raise not 120 million, but they actually raised 247 million. And they said, yes, we got funds now. And they now went to the WHO and told the WHO that, we want to embark on the eradication of polio. Can we be able to partner together? Initially, WHO said, well, you are just a service club. What can you do? Do you know what eradication of polio worldwide will take? You need more than $100 million. And when the RI president said, no, we have $247 million and we have more than 1 million volunteers on the ground to be able to move this thing forward. That's when WHO took them seriously. And they became partners. And they partnered with the World Health Organization from then on. And the polio project started. It's actually the real field work started in 1988. They started with Mexico and they were going one country after the other. And Rotary Club became Polio Plus partners, which they raise funds locally. And the partnership, what we now call the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, has this partner, the World Health Organization, Rotary International, the UN Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, UNICEF, and then Gavi, the vaccine. Those are the manufacturers of vaccines. and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Those are the 6 groups that are now teamed together to form what we call the Global Polio Eradication Initiative. You'll be hearing a lot about that one, as you go along with your Rotary journey, the GPEI. And what does Rotary do? We provide money, vaccine production, volunteer support, transportation, operational costs, surveillance, and training. And we also fund the research that goes on at the WHO for this polio eradication program. So what we do now has been evolving, as the advocacy goes on. We now go we engage Rotary members in raising funds, creating awareness, participating in advocacy. And Rotary members, as I wrote, you see there, raise funds, immunize children, promote awareness in their communities, and work to secure support from governments, non-government organizations, corporations, and the public. So what we'll be doing is been evolving slowly as the project goes along. Okay, I have this project there. It's one of those epic moments in the polio eradication program that we'll talk about. It's very exciting when you talk about the history of polio. That it occurred in 1998. Many of you remember Darfur. That is in Sudan, when there's a war between South Sudan and North Sudan. They're still fighting now for decades and decades. And at that time, United Nations was able to organize a ceasefire, a 4-day ceasefire, so that they can be able to send in relief materials and things to the victims of the conflict that are suffering. And just before the thing started, somebody just had the idea that, apart from these relief materials, we could also send we could also take the opportunity to immunize the children in Sudan against polio. But they were stuck. What could they do? They have no money and they had very little time. And Cliff Dutterman, who was the chairman board of trustees of the Rotary Foundation, said he got a phone call on a Sunday on his way to church that, from the president of the World Health Organization, please, what can you do to help us? He said, what is it? We're trying to get polio vaccines to children in Darfur. The thing is starting in 48 hours time. And we need money. We don't know where to raise it. And I said, how much do you need? And they said, we need about $400,000. Oh, they said, it's okay, don't worry. They said, we'll get to you tomorrow morning. And I said, just like that. They said, yes. And Cliff said he knew, in the Rotary Foundation, as the chairman, he's allowed to spend up to $500,000, and without approval, and get a retroactive approval from the board later. And he said that was the first and only time that clause has been evoked. And he just called the accountant and said, please wire $400,000 to Switzerland. And the next day, some plane loads of vaccines, were coming, all of them labeled with Rotary on it. And they landed in Khartoum. And by the next day, when all the trucks that are carrying food relief just had one, box of polio vaccines attached to them. And then they went into the field and started vaccinating. And they're giving them food, they were vaccinating. And said they were able to vaccinate up to 2 million children that day. And what struck me when I was reading about the history is what WHO wrote in their report when they were sending the report to the United Nations. And an expert of it is this. And they said, of all places in the world, there was no place we could turn except Rotary to make that project happen. When you read things like that, you know that you are in the right organization, because it tells you the little money you give goes a long way. It makes the difference when the time is critical. But yes, 2005 has come and gone. We were not able to meet the original target, but we are very close. And it just tells us that last bit is the most challenging one. That's where we are now today. Before then, we were having 350,000 cases every year until when we took it on. But I think I have some statistics on what the situation is now. We have only 2 countries left that have polio. That's Afghanistan and Pakistan, the wild polio. That shows that we have 3 strains of polio or the wild prevalent, the type 1, which is circulating, type 2, which has been eradicated, and type 3, which has also been. So we only have the type 1 that is circulating now. But what's the situation now? If you look at that slide, that is the situation as at last week, 21st of October 2025. You see the history. The ones in yellow there are the ones, the countries that are still endemic, Afghanistan and Pakistan. As at last week, there have been 9 cases this year in Afghanistan and 29 cases in Pakistan. And the last case was as close as early this month on the 3rd of October 2025. And you see the seesaw in the incidence of wild polio in these 2 countries. It tells you how challenging the issue is. There are sometimes you think, like you see the one in 2021, looks as if we're almost there. And for one reason or the other, because of the strife, the conflict that is going on in those 2 countries, the thing blew up again. And, but it's starting to come down. And there's hope that if we persevere, if we stay the course, we should be able to get to the goal that we want. But you'll notice what this is the statistics for the wild polio. And there's another form of polio vaccine that is called the vaccine-derived polio. If you understand exactly how the polio vaccine is a weakened virus. Virus has been weakened so that it can infect people, but it cannot cause paralysis. So that people will then develop immunity to it without having paralysis. But over the years, as this thing goes on from person to person, this vaccine, this inactivated vaccine, have slowly gained strength, and it's now starting to cause paralysis. So that it's not the wild polio virus that's causing the vaccine, but the vaccine-derived polio virus that causes it. And that is a major problem now in the polio eradication program. You now see this is for the polio, the vaccine-derived polio vaccine. You see CVDPV, that vaccine-derived polio vaccine, type 1. And you see the incidents out in there. We had some as late as this month, the one in Congo on the 25th of June, and all like that. And it's almost spread all over the place. This is for the type 1. We also have vaccine-derived polio of type 2 and type 3. If you see that, the typeface is a little bit small, but you see that's where Nigeria features. We were the worst hit. As of this year, we've had 37 cases of vaccine-derived polio. And the last one was on the 17th of August, just 2 months ago. And you see our numbers are very embarrassing, as among there. I mean, because of our population or whatever. And but you see, almost every country out there is affected by this vaccine-derived polio. So it's a major source of worry. And the parent that his baby is paralyzed is not interested whether it's wild polio or vaccine-derived. The thing is that his child is paralyzed, and that's the worry. But we need as scientists to be able to know what is going on, whether it's the wild polio virus or the vaccine-derived virus. You even see that in the United States in 2022, they had one of vaccine-derived polio. But in total, if you look at the bottom of the slide, this year alone, we had 159 cases of vaccine-derived polio worldwide, spread over every imaginable country. So we have our work cut out for us, not mainly for the wild polio virus, but also the vaccine-derived polio virus. And scientists are cracking their heads as to what to do. One may be to change to the injectable form of the vaccine, because the injectable form, you don't transmit it. You just take the injection, and it's a dead virus that you use for the injection, so it cannot replicate. But the inactivated virus that you use for the oral polio vaccine is the one that can slowly wake up and not be causing problems. But the dead polio vaccine, because it is by injection, it requires a lot more infrastructure to do it, and that's what is going to make it very difficult. Because once you talk about injection, you're not talking about you have nurses, you have injections, needles, syringes, sterility, and so on and so forth come into play. So it's going to be a much more difficult thing to deploy. That's why the oral polio vaccine is still favored, because it can be given by anybody. Any person can just walk and drop 2 drops in somebody's mouth. But research is going on as to produce another vaccine, which is more stable, which is more difficult to change when it gets into the environment to an active form. But so all works are going on to actually tackle this big problem of the vaccine-derived polio. And these are the challenges that we are having now. One is insecurity in remote and hard-to-reach areas. Even the vaccine-derived polio that we are having are usually in the extreme north, Zamfara, Borno, and so place where they have insecurity and bandits roaming the places. And usually in places of some strife or some conflict, that's when you cannot reach these children early enough to vaccinate them, and they get in contact with vaccine-derived polio, and they get paralyzed. So that is a main problem. That's a problem that the government has to tackle, because Rotary cannot do much in that way. Then we have vaccine hesitancy. You remember some time ago, people were hesitating to bring their children out for vaccine. They said it's a Western conspiracy, that they used to sterilize their children. They want to decimate the Black population. And so a lot of funny, issues came out. And Rotary has to actually deploy and reach out to traditional rulers, religious leaders, and so on and so forth, to come out and actually help them in convince their subjects and their parishioners, or whatever you call them, to accept the polio vaccine. That is the route that Rotary was able to use. When somebody like the Sultan of Sokoto or the Emir kind of comes out and tells, please people, this vaccine is quite good, use it. People will believe them, because when they see you in white coats or white things, they say, these imperialist people they want to come and kill us. So we are tackling the vaccine hesitancy in that way. And then public fatigue and competing health priorities. Sometimes, if you've been on polio vaccination drive and whatnot, there are sometimes you meet people say, look, if people keep coming every time for polio. We have worse problems. My child has not eaten, is having diarrhea, is having malaria. I want malaria treatment. I don't want polio vaccine. Because yes, polio is there, but there are many other health issues that people are facing. And occasionally you have people who said, we are tired of you people coming to come with something else. We've added a few things by adding what they call the Polio Plus, in which you add other vaccines and other goodies to the polio vaccination program to try and calm people's nerves. But yes, we have this problem because people are saying, it's time to shift to other things. There are more serious things to them than polio. So that remains a problem to keep the public and the authorities focused. And those who have to actually disburse the funds in government, they say, look, we want to cure malaria, we want to cure diarrhea, we want to cure tuberculosis, we want to cure HIV. And you people keep coming and say, polio. So it is a problem. So, but efforts are making to keep polio in the consciousness of both the public and the authorities so that they don't forget that polio, because the thing can rear its head again. That creates the issue of funding, because the authorities who have to fund, funds which are limited, they will say, how much do we give, for diarrhea? How much do we give for HIV? How much do we give for tuberculosis? How much do we give for measles? And then how much do we give for polio? So Rotary has to make a case and keep polio in the consciousness of the authorities so that they can continue to give adequate funding to this polio eradication program. And then vaccine-derived polio, I've talked about that, the person whose child is paralyzed is not interested whether it's vaccine-derived or wild polio. The thing is, my child has polio, what it is. And so Rotary now is also concentrating on what to do about how to tackle the vaccine-derived polio. Like I said, the issue of changing to the injectable vaccine on the development of a more stable oral vaccine. And that is what is in the pipeline now that can actually save us from this problem of vaccine-derived polio. And then what do? You as a Rotarian, sometimes I ask people, what have you done for polio? And they look at me that because they really have not done much apart from putting on the polio pin. And a few suggestions here from the Rotary websites that learn more about polio, like you learn in a discourse, so that you can discuss and explain the eradication efforts to people who don't know, so that you raise their awareness. By hosting fundraisers of events, you can raise funds in your various clubs, and both physical and virtual. And I hope many of you participated in the polio day, October 24. That's last week. I don't know which immunization was, done all through the place, but I saw very beautiful videos, online about what we've done. Thank you very much, those of you that participated. For those of you that are not, you can actually you contact your government representatives to encourage them to support you. That's the advocacy we're talking about, to keep polio in the consciousness of the government authorities. Start a conversation on social media so that when you're posting something on WhatsApp or Facebook, create something about polio so that people continue to remember that polio has not been cleared and we should concentrate on it, and encourage others to get involved and take action to end polio. And finally, and most importantly, donate to the Polio Plus Fund through your donation to the Rotary Foundation. $10, $100, $1,000 will go a long way. We don't know how many kids that one will save from the devastating effects of polio. So we implore all members, and at least something, make it a policy for you as a good Rotarian to donate something at least every year to the Polio Plus Fund, so that you can help also get to the finish line in polio. Oh, that's a much younger me, has all white hair. Now all my hairs are white now. You see that it was black then. I don't know when that picture was taken, but that was when we were very active in the polio vaccination. And the young man is a lot older now. Thank you very much for listening to me. I think I've kept with the 20-minute program. Thank you very much. Thank you, my DG, and thank you, my learning facilitator. I'm done.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. Is Uyi there? Uyi, are you there? Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, thank you so much, sir, PDG, for that well-detailed and interesting lecture, the facilitation. We appreciate you. So we should reserve our questions till the end of the second topic. Now we're going to call on our district governor-elect, Rotary Layi Abidoye, to talk to us and on doing good through the Rotary Foundation Approach. Of course, that's our leader for the next Rotary year, and I'm sure you enjoy his topic and discussion this morning. Over to you, sir, Rotary Layi Abidoye, our DG.
Sir, please, can you kindly make me the host back? Oh, sure.
Okay, you have his slides?
Yes, he has my slides. She can do it. I will just be telling her what to project.
Yeah,
Okay.
please, can you just make me the host back?
PDG
Not me,
Akeredolu, please.
PDG Akeredolu that we have to do that.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so what we want to talk about is like what was said in 1917. Thank you very much for having me to facilitate at this time to give a lecture, because facilitation is a different approach. I was the Rotary International President at CLUMF in 1917, who proposed an endowment for the purpose of doing good in the world. And since that time, 1917, when the good was started, they could not stop doing good in the world. And that's the initial money that was used was the proceeds of the convention in Kansas City, Missouri, $26.5 that was used to start the job of doing good in the world. By 1928, the Rotary endowment was actually changed to Rotary Foundation by 1920. That's 11 years later. And by that time, the duty was actually to promote international understanding by supporting graduate studies. And the first program, which was the first act of doing good that was started by Rotary International, by Rotary Foundation, was in 1947. Incidentally, that was the year too that a fund was started in memory of our the founder of Rotary, Polaris Fellowship, so which was donation of $1,000 in his memory. But in the process of we are not talking about donation now, we're talking about doing good. The scholarship program for graduate studies was started in 1947. And I'm happy to inform you that up to today, that's the oldest act of doing good, and it's continuing. The question I will ask is that, are you and I involved? In what way have you and I recruited people to benefit from these graduate studies? My take from this is that don't let the good work stop at your end as a Rotarian. It's a simple process. Let us look for candidates who can compete on the world stage and win the scholarship award for graduate studies. So that is one. Number two is that for us to have a foundation that will continuously doing good, we need to have the finance. And the only thing that brings about the finance is the fact that we are trusted. Next slide, yes. It's the fact that we are trusted. And that trust was actually stamped by no other organization than the Charity Navigator. And that Charity Navigator has been consistently giving us giving Rotary a 4-star rating. Why do I bring this up? Can you tell this to your friends, not only to Rotarians, that their money is safe with Rotary and it will continuously be doing good for the whole world with their funds? Bill and Melinda Gates trust us, and several people have trusted us. We all of us who are Rotarians have trusted Rotary, but we need to get more into Rotary. Then, in the history of doing good continues, in 1965, when the concept of matching grants was launched. That concept of matching grants is what we are looking at today as global grants. We've raised some funds through other districts, through our donation. Then the Rotary International will give additional money. Even if the grant, which we look at when we are looking at the current grants we are running today, even if it has changed, the amount of money that the Rotary Foundation matches has reduced, we can still access that fund. And accessing that fund is why I brought this up. That we donate, yes, as a district, as Rotarians. How many of our clubs are accessing Rotary Foundation funds? We need to continuously do good by accessing Rotary Foundation funds. I will ask Oge to skip all about polio, because our referred PDG has spoken a lot about polio eradication. The other point I want to raise frequently is the issue of peace centers, which was commenced in 1999. Peace centers was commenced in 1999, and I dare ask, how many of us have recruited people to benefit from this Rotary Foundation funded program? As of today, I think we have about 9 centers. Why do I call it 9? Actually, we can say 8. But in Durham, Duke University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, I term them as one because they're in the same town, and they run peace master's program for peace fellowship. There's one in Japan. There's one in Australia, University of Queensland. There's one in University of Bradford, United Kingdom, Uppsala University in Sweden. The most recent one, the one in Turkey that runs the certificate program, by Shire University. We have one in Africa. Have we as a district, have we as members of clubs, recruited people to benefit from these centers? That's why I brought it up. That the doing good started a long time ago. How many of these have we passed on to people who can benefit? Peace centers was launched a long time ago. As of that's about 34 years ago, and how many? 36 years ago. How many peace fellows have we actually raised from our district, even from the legacy district 9110 to district 9112? The other one is the issue of grant types that was launched in 2013. It was even called a pilot program, which is what we run to today. And we have global grant, we have district grants, we have global grants, program of skill, disaster relief grants. I dare say, when there was flood in this country, when there was serious flooding, what do we do? Did we access the disaster relief grant, which is $25,000? And then even the global grant program, are we utilizing our DDF in the district to fund our global grant projects? So we need to know that Rotary Foundation is introducing all these acts of doing good continuously. The charge to us as Rotarians is that we need to now do our best to keep this act of doing good as a continuum. Disaster Relief Fund was launched in 2019. I dare ask, how many times, based on the number of disasters that we had in this country, have we, as Rotarians, accessed this fund? You know this fund is worth $25,000 and it can be repeated, subject to need. I dare ask, since 2019 to date, how many? So we need to work on that. That we have to continue, allow Rotary Foundation act of being good continue in our district. We have to be prepared to access these funds. Luckily, Nigeria has benefited from program of skills. In fact, 4 is in Africa: Egypt, Zambia, and Nigeria. So the next thing is, what other projects are we carrying on that is scalable, that we can even get international partners and that can be submitted for such? You know that it takes time, it takes effort, it takes programs like our microcredit program is due for such scale up. We can look at it. Our eye centers, the 2 eye centers we have and the additional one we are planning, they are due for such. So we need to look at that. That for us to continue to do good in the world, we have to actually be involved. I want us to skip the area of the polio eradication because I've been spoken enough. We go to the areas of focus. So the areas of focus: peace building and conflict prevention. How many programs have you actually initiated that makes Rotary to continuously do the good that I've been doing? Yes, we only do it during the month when we lay emphasis on conflict prevention and peace building. Can we make it a year-round activity? Can we do global grants or even district grant proposals around peace building so that the act of continuously doing good in the world can continue? On disease prevention and treatment, we are doing a lot. We have RFH, which we are partnering with and doing a lot of programs, but there's a lot more to do. Even the simple micro grants that the malaria action group have, how many clubs have accessed it? Whereby we don't need to go, all we need to do is just submit a simple proposal, and the approving authority is even a member of Rotary Club of Agada. She's in Abuja. We can always reach out to. So we are not assessing all these simple ways being good in the world. My charge to you is that let us keep accessing this. On water, sanitation, and hygiene, we ran a wash program a long time, but at the program we had in a market about 2 weeks ago, we discovered that many people don't even know how to simply wash their hand clean. So how many wash programs have you actually carried out? Simple projects, low-hanging fruits that we continue to do good. Can I charge a club or clubs, a group of clubs, to make it a program that they will teach secondary school students in a local government over 3 months, 6 months on simple hygiene? And this can be financed through district grants or global grants, because all these are area of focus of the Rotary Foundation. We are doing very well on child and maternal health. Education has been going on. What about equipment? There was something we discovered of late, that during labor, and they need to know the position of a child, they have to carry the woman in labor to the X-ray room and back. There's a project that Rotary Club of Victoria Island East did during their investiture. They donated a micro imaging system at a cost which is not too high to the military hospital in Ikoyi. These are little things that we can keep doing that will make us to be continuously do good in the world. The other one is already our basic education and literacy. I dare ask, we have the templates to do a lot of this in our environment. The garages, the markets on Thursday mornings, simple bookkeeping techniques, simple basic education, hygiene, exercise, little things. The population is there already. All they are waiting for is for us to continue doing good using Rotary Foundation approach so that we can make impact. Even ophthalmic tests for drivers, simple things that we can do in the area of disease prevention. Then in community economic development, we are very active in our district. We have about 5 very big ongoing. The one is Ososa, the one in Bubo. And then what are we doing? And we have clubs too on the island that have small microcredit programs. Can we expand it into teachings on how for these people to expand their business? Can we look at areas where we can collaborate and do big, bold, and very bold projects in this area? We have the experience. We have been involved for years. We can do it. And this community economic development programs is actually mature for a proposal on global program of scale. We can, because we have this not only in Lagos State, we have it ongoing in Oyo State, we have it ongoing in Osun State, and we can collaborate and do big, bold projects in this area so that we continuously do good the Rotary Foundation way. We planted trees extensively, but I think the area of education is key for environment. We need to look at it so that we can continue doing good. We need to look at this area because the latest addition to the area of focus, but the area that requires, because of the global warming, this is the area that we should require, that should catch our attention as Rotarians, that we can do a lot of programs. I'm charging us, and I'm taking time here, that the essence of this discussion is that we can think through and continuously do the good that Rotary does in the world. How can we do it? We can do it through Rotary Foundation grants. Rotary Foundation grants. And if you want to look at it, it's the easiest to do now, district grants. It is for any act of doing good in the world. But global grants has to be in any of the 7 areas of focus. So, and what do we need? We need international partners. We have the resource in the district. But the question is, if we actually do a lot of global grants, we have unutilized district designated fund that will be rolled over. So it's food for thought. Then I grant it. We need some technical skill. Those of us who have a little knowledge about writing up, we will, if you approach the district, there are resources, individuals who can help us in writing up these global grants. And clubs can collaborate and do these global grants so that we can continuously do good in the world. Disaster response grants, I'm not aware we have accessed in the recent past for any of the disasters that's happened around us. So we need to look at this area and educate ourselves, get more involved. Let's approach those who can assist us with the knowledge so that we can write more of these proposals. And even it's one of the easiest to write because Rotary Foundation does not waste time on that. The one that requires some technical inputs, they might even need to get people to help us write up, get statisticians, get people to do environment impact assessment and all the rest. It's program of skill. But if we have got it approved for Nigeria, that means it can be done again. Let's look at areas where we have been very, very involved, like the economic empowerment and poverty eradication. We are like the environment where we planted, we were very active with a project against global erosion, coastal erosion last Rotary year. So we can do a lot of things together, but that will only require our commitment. So I will not want to go into a lot of time into the nitty-gritty of how to write up the grants. That will be handled we can meet afterwards so that we can look at it, and then we look at it during the grant seminar so that we can look at areas where we need to put in our efforts. But for us to, we need to go to slide 25. For us to access these grants, we need to be qualified. We need to be qualified. And that's most of the time we have discovered over the years that many clubs don't get involved. They don't even send their president and the Rotary Foundation chairman of the club to come and get familiar. So we need to get that one through. We will promote it heavily from around March this year after our trainings so that we can participate in May. The date is not yet firmed up, so that I'm pleading with all of us that for us to be able to do good, the Rotary Foundation approach, we have to be qualified. We have to be qualified to do Rotary Foundation grants. And that is one of the key areas, which is low-hanging fruit, where we not have donor fatigue to do most of the things. Then the Rotary Foundation approach is that we must show stewardship towards fund management and careful execution of the project. We must be accountable. And we have a chairman of the district. Anytime you require assistance, so that I continue to do good through the foundation approach, please approach the district. We'll link you up with people who can assist in the area of stewardship. So I will take time here because on the Rotary Peace Fellowships, I was a chairman for Peace Fellowship Scholarship, Rotary Peace Fellowship for about for almost 2 years. My take is that we don't recruit people to participate in these programs. And I dare say that is funded 100% by Rotary Foundation, but we don't participate. I dare ask, has there been anybody who has recruited any participant in peace as a peace scholar? And that peace scholar is probably, you can share with me after this program, wherever it is, so that I can follow up with him. Because why do I see that there's a little challenge? The application process runs over 2 or 3 years. It starts in February, it ends in August. So most of the time we have challenges. And but if probably recruitment has been done, most likely whoever is going to be the new chairman, or probably the new chairman for the following Rotary year, will have been carried along and we see it through. But the real challenge is recruitment. I dare say that we are not recruiting. The time is now to look for people who are interested to be peace scholars, either the certificate level, which is more of practical based, or the theoretical based, which is the master's program. We need to recruit. Recruitment is key. So this is the centers are indicated here. We have 2 centers in Europe, Sweden and United Kingdom for master's program. Sweden and United Kingdom for master's program. There's one in Turkey which is new, is for certificates. The one in Japan, International Christian University, is for masters. Then the one in Queensland, Australia, is for masters. The one in Turkey, Makerere University in Uganda, is for certificate courses. Certificate courses is the one in Turkey, the one in Makerere University, which is in Africa here. The one in Makerere University was established in memory of our late Rotary International President-elect, Sam M.O.R.E. So the next question is, can we, if you take a count now, how many of members who are about 130 that participate annually, 50 for masters, 80 for certificates, are from our district number 112? How many are even from Nigeria? So the challenge to all of us is to recruit for the Rotary Foundation. Our job is recruitment. We screen, then we recommend them for Rotary International and the Rotary Foundation for to attend a competitive bidding, a competitive interview, whereby whoever wins attends. So, but even if you don't put anybody forward, you cannot say whether you will win or you will not win, be selected to participate in the program. Then, for us to continuously do good in the world, we need to participate in the funding of our foundation. There are several areas of funding, but Polio Plus Fund, we are there asked how many of us participated? Just $10 or $100 Polio Fund Society members. How many of us have participated? Annual fund, less $100 every return every year, or Polaris Fellowship annually. How many of us have participated? And I dare ask about this annual fund. That must be the only Rotarians who will benefit because of our navigator rating, charity navigator rating, which is 4 plus, which means that we are at the highest level. Can we market this to our friends so that Rotary International Rotary Foundation can continuously do good in the world? So, because of time, I will rather make a challenge before I leave. That can I ask that all of us who are here and those of us who will report back to the club, that we take a decision that all our clubs at the worst case scenario will be 100% ERI. You know, when we do that, to get a certificate from RI. Or for those clubs that where people can afford it, that we all be Polaris Society members, Polaris Fellowship members. Then can I recommend that those who are Polaris Society members, can they talk to one person in the principle of each one bring one? That I will talk to a friend who I know can give $1,000 annually. And for those of us who know people who probably want to remember their loved ones or are interested in certain causes, can they encourage them to donate to the endowment fund or named gifts so that we can use it to continuously do good in the world? The act of doing good, sometimes people don't see the opportunity they have in it, but it's a lifetime opportunity to give, because most of the time when you give, you are rewarded in ways you cannot know. One of the rewards is that even satisfaction that somebody somewhere is being taken care of with what I've contributed. So my final charge to you is that support the Rotary Foundation through all the activities, ways of doing good. And by supporting the humanitarian effort, it's a way for all of us, for you and me, to live a meaningful life and to know that we have actually helped vulnerable and marginalized people from living a good life. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much, our DGE. I appreciate you for always being former club Rotary Club of M.O.R.E, and you did what you had to do as usual. Thank you so much. I'd also like to thank PDG Jide Akeredolu, who has always obliged me anytime I call him. Thank you so much. God bless you, sir. Having said this, I would like our participants with questions to please come out and ask questions so that our facilitators can take the questions, after which we'll round up the session. Thank you very much. So if you want to ask a question, unmute and then mute so that your questions can be answered. Thank you very much. Yes, okay, I can see. Okay. Hello, okay.
Yes, sir.
Please, can you please coordinate the question and answer session? Because I can see some people are raising their hands up already.
Okay, let me check if they're that's fine. Okay, yes. Rotarian Basirat. She's unmuted already.
Okay, so she can go ahead with her question and then.
Yes, sir.
Can I go ahead?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Yes. Good morning, fellow Rotarians, my PDG and DGE. Good morning. Thank you very much. As a matter of fact, I am Basirat Giwa from Rotary Club of Bagada. I already posted my questions on the chat room, but I will repeat now. The question was the vaccine-derived polio virus infection that were discovered in those paralyzed children. Were those kids ever vaccinated with the oral polio vaccine, or we just discovered they were paralyzed and the paralysis was caused by the polio-derived virus? Just want to know. It's also part of, so that they won't come around. It's because they got it. It's because of the oral vaccination that they got infected. That's my question.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Can I go ahead and answer?
Please
Yes.
do, sir. I was just going to tell you to go ahead and do that, sir.
Oh, okay. That's all right. Thank you very much, PDG, Dr. Basirat Giwa. It's a little bit complex. The truth is yes and no. The vaccine, if we understand exactly how the polio vaccine works, the inactivated vaccine, the person takes it, the baby takes it, it infects the baby, and then the baby passes it out in its stool. And so it's there in the environment. And when other children can also catch it, if you live in an unhygienic condition. So there are some children, before they're able to get the vaccine, that is provided by Rotary or the, health authorities, they have already contacted the polio virus from the stool of other children in the community. And so sometimes we do environmental samples. I will find that in the sewage, in the gutters, and so on and so forth, you have this vaccine. So there's an ecosystem going on that some children even get immunized even before they get the other polio vaccine because they've come in contact with the vaccine-derived polio. Initially, it was an added advantage, but now they now said that vaccine now became more active and now was causing paralysis. So that many of those who are originally catching the vaccine-derived polio were those who have not been immunized yet. But unfortunately, I think in 2016, when WHO noticed that it's really the type 2 virus that was that was developing into a vaccine-derived polio virus. So they withdrew the type 2. Usually you have type 1, type 2, type 3, and we call it a trivalent vaccine, winning the vaccine against it. And they thought that, okay, this type 2 that is changing to vaccine-derived polio, if we withdraw it, and then they only have type 1 and type 2, which is called the bivalent vaccine. That is the one that's been given now. But they now notice that has not stopped the type 2 vaccine-derived polio. It's there in the environment, and there's nothing you can do. It's there in the soil, it's there in the gutters, it's there in the sewage. And some people who have been vaccinated against the bivalent vaccine now may now go ahead and catch the type 2 vaccine-derived polio. And it's, may complicate matters. And that is why what they are trying to do is to reintroduce the type 2 vaccine, but now it's in a more stable form, or go to give the injectable vaccine. That is the dilemma the World Health authorities are facing now. So it's a fairly complex thing, no easy solution to it. And, hope they get it right. Those are the experts. That's what we pay them for.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I hope you understand exactly what I mean.
I do. I think in addition, while they are still trying to do all these scientific investigations, we know that the bottom line will still rest on one of our areas of focus, the wash.
Yes.
Yeah, because if they don't get infected from the soil, the stool, if they have clean water, well, no matter how much the vaccine-derived virus is in their drinking or in the stool is not meant to get into anybody's drinking water.
So it makes it more complex. A lot of hygiene, a lot of public health issues come into play now. But in those areas where there's open defecation and people live in the villages and so on and so forth, who drink their water from streams untreated, and then their sewage upstream, it's a very, very complex problem. But the way is if you can catch all the babies at the appropriate time at birth and vaccinate them so that they already get vaccinated even before they come in contact with the environmental vaccine-derived virus, in the environment. But that creates a lot of problems, to be able to catch them at birth. It may be easy in the urban areas, very difficult in the rural areas, especially in war-strong areas where people are born in the road, in the bushes, and they have absolutely no protection. So that is the difficulty we have now.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. We have Claire Omashe. Can you please unmute and then send in your question, ma'am?
Thank you very much. My PDGs, DG-elects, and fellow Rotarians, this has been a really informative session. I want to thank you for the in-depth lecture you have given us. So I have two questions. First to my PDG. You talked about the two types of polio globally. So I'm just wondering, in the countries like Afghanistan and Pakistan, how easy is it to differentiate between whether all the cases of polio they still have are wild virus polio or vaccine-derived polio? The only way to test, I assume, that you must do molecular testing to be able to differentiate the two. So could you just give us a little bit more information on how these two different types of polios are detected? Secondly is to our DG-elect. Thank you so much for your lecture. I would like to have a little bit more information on the disaster response grant. Is that a grant that clubs can apply for, or is it at the district level? Thank you.
All right. Thank you, my president. About the testing. Actually, usually the expert that tells that if somebody gets paralyzed, you first have to know, is it due to polio or not? There are a few other things in medicine that can cause paralysis. So when a child has paralysis and wants to inform Usually those are notifiable diseases. It informs the local government authorities, and those one tell their ministries. And they actually come and tell the child, both the blood and the stool. Because what comes out of the stool will give you an impression what virus infected the child. And what it gets from that, obviously they go and do molecular testing in their laboratories. And, oh, this is wild polio virus. Oh, this is polio, vaccine-derived polio. Is it the type 1? Is it the type 2? Is it type 3? And those are tests that the experts do in the laboratory before they now designate this, oh, the paralysis that was caused in M.O.R.E village or something like that as due to, so it's not documented as vaccine-derived polio type 2, vaccine-derived polio type 3, or it's a wild polio virus. So those are the things. But the child is paralyzed already, it's in hospital and tests have been done. So it's really, really massive thing when a case is reported. Because you tell the local health authorities, and those one tell the WHO, and those one come, or the other, please take this sample, please take this sample, and send to us. And then they now go through it. Before they now designate, yes, this paralysis is caused by polio, and it's called by wild polio type 2, called by, vaccine-derived polio type 3, and then it's now logged and designated. Obviously, they now set, that also helps the response team. If the response is coming at, oh, this baby had from type 1 vaccine, obviously the oral polio vaccine that they're going to give in that place will contain the vaccine for type 1 or type 2. Like when they have the type 1, type 2, which is common now, they now have to reintroduce the monovalent type 2 vaccine as a response to any case. If they have a case that has vaccine-derived polio of a particular type, it will guide them as to the kind of vaccine that they should send to that area to address the issue. So it guides the response of the response team, and then obviously to document exactly what way globally, the vaccine, the polio should be addressed. I don't know whether I've explained it nicely enough.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Very, very good explanation.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for the question you've asked. I was running through because of time. That's why I did not go into the nitty-gritty of who can apply. Actually, the district that writes the application, but most of the time, the club will have to initiate the discussion. Probably, if a disaster happens in an area, you have to, a club that, or a group of clubs that feel moved, we prompt the district to write, and then the grant it can initially $5,000, and it can be multiples if there's a demonstrable need. I normally use for such items as water, food, medicine, and clothing, just to provide immediate relief. And that fund comes the Rotary Foundation Disaster Response Fund. That's where it comes from, and it's normally approved. The approval is very fast. Okay, I hope that answers that question.
Yes, thank you so much, my DG. Thank you.
The club have to actually provide information.
Thank you.
Okay.
Your concise answer to the question answered. May I call on PDG Jide Akeredolu to please come up with this question?
Thank you very much, my district leaders. Mine is the concern that I have always had about our participation in the global, and in fact, the district grants. If we take a statistical analysis of how many of our clubs are involved in global grants and even the district grants, you find it sometimes abysmal, very low. And you wonder why. It's only those who have always been good at it, the bagadas of this our district, and they just keep it like if it is a cloth thing. Yet it goes beyond that precisely. So my question, and this is to our district governor-elect. I know that a resource group have been formed in the districts where these resources can be tapped by the various districts. I mean, I go to little clubs like in Eke, and they have no clue whatsoever, and yet the needs are very great. So my question, how can we continue to educate, especially the new Rotarians, on the need to tap into, or by participation, tap into the Rotary Foundation? Not just that we talk about contributing, but also to be able to participate in some of the programs. So that's my question, and how can we make that cascade to our clubs to be part of what the Rotary Foundation in doing good in the world? Thank you, my facilitators.
Okay. I will try to yield the floor to our referred PDG, since that falls into his area squarely.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, you talked about how do we educate, Rotarians. Interestingly, when such a platform too, and you can see, I think it was well publicized, and as of now, we have about 47 people. I was expecting to be more. And various platforms have been created by the district to educate people. We do it at PES, we do it at DTA, we do it at DTTS, we do it like this monthly online training, we do it at the multi-club training, we do it at various platforms. And so it's like the English adage, you can only guide a horse to the edge of the river. You cannot force them to drink, because we do it. Even I remember a couple of years ago when they had the grant management seminar, in which you just come and do and sign and be able to get the district grant. Rotarians, those clubs don't show up. And there's a limit to what the district can do. We'll continue to appeal to them. We'll send messages on WhatsApp, phone call. Please come and attend grant management seminar so that you can access. A district government has to do a remedial grant management seminar when the uptake was very poor and the money was going to be returned to the Rotary Foundation. So we go on and actually appeal to people. I even made the offer at one time in a desperation. My donation to the foundation, I could do it that any club that applies for a global grant, I will give $1,000 to that club as part of the contribution to support the club. The uptake has been poor. But the club has to make a move, and we encourage them, and everything is there on the ground. We educate, we do it. About 10 different platforms in which people can get education about global grants, about district grants. But people just don't know that. We even beg them, we extend something, just send an application. Yet. So it's quite frustrating sometimes. Even district grant that you need almost nothing to do. A district grant now has closed. Now we have just about half of the clubs apply. And we send mail, we send WhatsApp messages at the district, I send some personally. Please apply for this thing. This thing is free money. Yeah, they don't. So it's quite a frustrating thing. I think they just expect that the district should do it, but the district cannot apply for a club because the club knows what they want to do and they just need to apply for money. And it's very easy. So it's quite disturbing why clubs still don't apply, especially district grant. Global grants even a little bit more complicated, but it's still there. Huge amount of money. The money is being rolled over year in, year out. And then some clubs have been very good at it. My district governor elects club, had become masters. They've collared almost all the DDM for global grants because they are very good at it. And but some clubs just can't be bothered. And I said, nobody goes to school to learn about global grants. You just try it. It's online. You can try it today. I just go online and make an application and see how it goes. And all the people I started by trial and error, and they just get through it. And they succeed. And when they succeed, you improve more and more. So that's what this is a platform, for example, to encourage people to apply for district grants, apply for global grants. The money is there. Unfortunately, you see club president, they levy their members painfully. The members are complaining, what is going on, when there's free money for them to tap on. So it's bewildering. I'm, as quite worried as you are about why clubs are inactive in applying for district and global grants.
All right. Thanks so much, sir. The chairman is finding it difficult to connect, so I will kindly call on the DG so he can give his closing remarks.
Please, before you give the closing remarks, can I quickly sort of add to what Rotarian Chinedu, the concern he expressed about clubs not taking part in global grants, please?
Okay, ma. Right.
Can I go ahead?
Yes,
just quickly. Yeah,
okay.
Because he said clubs were not, he was approaching it from the point of view of the district leadership. I want to approach it from the point of view of, I would say, victims, ordinary Rotarian and ordinary Rotarian. First, my club is Bagada. It's not Bagada of this world. The last global grant that has just been approved for us, being the primary contact, all the clubs we penciled down, and I approached them. We penciled them down to contribute to that club contribution to the global grant project. It's as simple as maybe $100, $200 we distributed. By the time the global grant got approved, a lot of they don't have the money. We now have to start looking for other clubs to contribute. And it is not just contribute, it enables them to be part of the execution of the global grant project. For example, the one that PDG Jide Akeredolu executed a few years ago, the vaccination of HPV vaccination of young girls. It was like every club that contributed had to pick schools in their community. So they carried the project. Pretty much the one of screening children, primary school children, now screening their eyes and ears. Any club that contributes to this global grant will have to pick a project in their community to be a part of the program. And I remember the club I supervised 2 years ago, they did not attend the grants management seminar. And I pushed, PDG Kola Sodipo is there, pushed that the district, arranged remedial grants management seminar. It still didn't work. So I think it's not fair on the district leadership to assume that the awareness is not much. I think maybe we need to do is to get people to reorder their priorities. I have personally encouraged individual Rotarians. I'm a doctor. I tend to, lean towards health-related projects. I know someone who, I mean, a past district governor who is a stockbroker. I said, look, concentrate on economic empowerment. There are some that should concentrate on education, basic education and literacy. There are plenty of those things out there. It's a question for Rotarians to get interested and reorder their priorities. Yeah, social outings are good. I'm not disputing that, but we must not forget the primary objective of being Rotarians. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma.
Thank you very much, ma'am. I'm sorry, and was very, I mean, would like to please, and then I'd like to call our DG to please give a remark, after which everybody will the thank you very much. Our DG, sir. Hello, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me, fellow Rotarians?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Yes, so our past assistant governor.
Can hear you now, sir.
Thank you very much for coordinating this. May I especially thank our revered PDG Jide Akeredolu for the fresh perspectives that he has given to the polio issue. It has been very enriching. It has been very rewarding, and personally, I have also benefited from his immense wealth of knowledge. I also want to appreciate our district governor, elect Layi Abidoye, for his perspective too. Today, we have been enriched by the knowledge that has been disseminated to us by our two very valued facilitators. We can't thank you enough. This is the month of Rotary Foundation, and we have a seminar at the district on the 12th of November, which I encourage all clubs to participate in. And again, just like our district Rotary Foundation chairman said, year in, year out, we appeal to clubs to participate in grants. If you cannot do a global grant, embrace the district grant. Please, it's a wake-up call to all of us. If these funds are not utilized in the current Rotary year, it will be taken back by the Rotary Foundation. And at the end of the day, what does it benefit us if we have a free pool of funds and we cannot utilize them? Please, I want to encourage clubs to please key into this. It's for our benefit. Fellow Rotarians, I can't thank you enough for participating. I know we are on a weekend and everyone has one thing or the other to do, but we have been very enriched by what we have gone through in this online monthly learning series. I want to thank everyone and wish you a fruitful weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, my DG.
Thank you, my DG. Thank you, everybody. Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you
Bye.
very much. Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice weekend all. Bye-bye.